Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to this in-person and online service of the Unitarian Society of New Haven. I'm Jim Peters, a member of the worship committee, and delighted to be worship associate this morning. Thank you for being here. As Unitarian Universalists, we aim to look through the smoke in a collective search for clarity and shared understanding. We don't come here each believing the same things, but we do come here to share a space where we can explore together the issues of the day and the deepest questions. It's a great gift we give each other, simply to show up and be together in beloved community. Today's theme is resilience, and big thanks to Joni Messner for her vision and leadership bringing this service into being. Along with Joni and myself, we have 4 members sharing their reflection on the theme. Adele Gelperin, Ryan Bisson, who is also gifting us with his amazing trombone musicianship, Leona Genzano, and Bob Simianti. And of course, it's a genuine pleasure to welcome back Bill Braun to the... We're grateful always to Jamie Ross for her administrative support and for the ongoing work of our tech team. A few announcements. From the management team, additional engraved bricks will be placed in the Memorial Garden patio later this summer. For more information about that, please look in the back page of the order of service. The deadline is the end of this month. And from Sharon McBlain and the Waverly team, school will be starting again soon. We can help the Waverly children be ready and confident on the first day of school. We're collecting backpacks and school supplies to be given away at the annual Back to School community event at the Waverly Townhouses on August 22nd. Look for the collection box in the lobby with a list of supplies. We also invite all to stop by the table in the social hall after the service today. And in addition to supplies, cash contributions are warmly received. Tomorrow, the Connecticut Humanist Association monthly meeting will be here at 6:30 to 9, and USNH member and YDS professor Tisa Wegner will be discussing her new book, Spirits of Empire: How Settler Colonialism Made American Religion. And folks, I know you already know this, but please stay for the barbecue lunch following the service, sponsored by the Connection team and the Sunday morning team. Now, just have one more announcement about the Labor Day retreat.
Good morning. In case you have underestimated how fun the Labor Day retreat is, we hope that you appreciated this little demonstration. Some things to know about the Labor Day retreat. You don't have to cook. The meals are provided, and last summer they were actually great. Your adventures can be wild or tame. You can do archery, you can paddle on the lake in a kayak, or hike in the woods, not in a kayak. Or you can join the knitters on the porch, the puzzlers and crafters in the dining hall. There's a traditional hippie UU tie-dyeing, campfire singing, tie-dyeing. I made this. No, actually, Dan made this. And a talent show requiring no talent. The accommodations are basic, but the setting is beautiful. It's in Chimney Corners in Beckett, Massachusetts. And hot off the presses, our new minister, Reverend Mandy, and her kids will be attending. So If that isn't a draw, I don't know what is. You can sign up in the newsletter in the order of service. We also have a table if you want to hear more about it. And now our call to worship is also the chalice lighting. A Recipe for Resilience by Margaret Weiss. This recipe has been tweaked over time, so adjust as necessary. Sometimes it yields more servings than anticipated. Sometimes it needs a bit more of this ingredient or that. It comes from generations who have gone before me, and I've added my own flavor along the way. Here's the recipe. 1 part courage, 2 parts tears of failure and doubt, 1 part deep listening, 1 part each both of silence and laughter, a dash of trust, a pinch of wonder, a heaping scoop of naps and snacks. In a separate bowl, mix together family, friends, and those who challenge you to be your best self, those with whom you disagree. Add slowly to the larger pot, add a bay leaf, for whatever bay leaves do, and let simmer as long as you need, which is often longer than you realize or anticipate. Keep the heat at an even temperature, hot enough to cook throughout, but not so hot it burns the bottom. Can be served at room temperature, warm, or even cold if necessary. Serve alongside your favorite soft blanket, dog, cat, or other soft item. Make often, share with others. Hold on to the leftovers, you'll need them after a long day that challenges your soul.
We will continue the service with singing hymn number 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath, in your gray hymnal. We're taking this opportunity to share our joys and sorrows. This is an opportunity for those carrying a burden of sorrow to come forward if they wish and place a stone or shell in the water that the weight of sadness might be lessened. And for those holding a special joy this morning, you're welcome to come forward to light a candle, that the light you are feeling may have an outward expression and gently warm us all. Hymn 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath. Now I'd like to invite Adele up for our first reflection on resilience.
Hi, everybody. I'm Adele. Nice to see you. This summer, I am doing a hospital chaplaincy internship at a Level 1 Trauma Center hospital in Boston. I'm learning how to provide spiritual care, and I'm learning real lessons in resilience from the patients I meet. Awkward encounters prove to be helpful reminders of my own resilience, too. During my first week of hospital rounding, I stopped in to visit a patient who had a contagious illness. A blaring orange precaution sign instructed me to put on the required PPE. I struggled into a gown, gloves, and a huge, unwieldy combined face mask and shield that made me look like a 6-foot-tall, fluorescent yellow alien life form. I stepped into the room and introduced myself, tried to find a chair that ended up being screwed into the ground, bumped my head on an attached computer screen as I tried to move the chair, and ultimately decided my best option was to loom at the patient's bedside uncomfortably. I was so flustered from it all that when the patient asked me if I believed in Jesus Christ, I squeaked out, "Mm-hmm." He then asked me to pray for him. After taking a deep breath and offering the shortest and most Unitarian prayer imaginable, he looked at me somewhat quizzically and said, "So you are a Christian, right?" I could not scoot out of that room fast enough. Clinical Pastoral Education, or CPE, is known to be a transformational learning experience. Each week, my peers and I reflect on our patient visits together. We lift up the successes and investigate the missteps, learning how our personal stories shape our behavior in unconscious ways. I have come to know that even when I dress up as a big yellow alien and offer a bizarre prayer, I am rarely the most unpleasant or disorienting thing to happen to a patient in the hospital. I have to laugh at myself, try to learn from my fumbles, and knock on the next door. I never know how I will be received. Once I stepped into a patient's room, and the first words out of his mouth were, "Are you the good fairy come to bring me home?" "I wish I were," I said. "I'm actually an interfaith chaplain." I know the good fairy this patient was hoping for was probably a nurse with his discharge paperwork, but I liked the image. There is something magical about all of this. Stepping into a conversation with a patient feels like passing through a portal into another world. People welcome me into some of the hardest moments of their lives. In their stories, I learn their families, their struggles, the things they are proud of. I leave my own life at the doorway and cross the threshold to join them in theirs. As in many caregiving professions, compassion fatigue, burnout, and secondary trauma are common among hospital chaplains. But there's also a less common response to working with people who are suffering. Vicarious resilience is what happens when we take in not only our patients' immense suffering, but also their capacity to endure it. We are exposed to trauma, but we are also exposed to the human ability to survive, adapt, and build life anew. This summer, I am meeting people who are living with loss that is often unfathomable to me. And yet, they keep their own suffering in stunning perspective. They find ways to keep taking care of the people who matter most to them, even when they're stuck in a hospital bed. And they keep learning about themselves and their world. Sometimes I feel like I am collecting the wisdom of humanity when I'm making my rounds. There are two things I hear over and over again. One day at a time. One day at a time, so many patients tell me. I'm just taking it one day at a time. When things are really hard, they elaborate. One day at a time, 10 minutes at a time. One moment at a time. The ultimate lesson in living in the moment. 2, there's always someone who has it worse. Patients in the ICU regularly tell me how grateful they are for what they have. They ask me to pray for them and for everyone else in the hospital, extending compassion to those in even harder circumstances. I am so grateful for my front row seat to human dignity and resilience. Each day, I come face to face with the reality that life is fragile and profoundly unpredictable. Each day, I meet another person who teaches me how to live one unpromised moment at a time. Thank you.
Now invite Ryan forward.
Hello, I'm Ryan. My pronouns are he, him. I have found 2 activities in my life that have shown me my own capability to be resilient. I go to these activities for that reminder often. First is playing the trombone, and the second is rock climbing. They may seem to be very different activities, but they challenge me in a similar way. Each time I return to my music studio, or the crag, or a boulder, I am tested. In both of these activities, failure is expected, and it is the norm. That doesn't make it any easier to accept, but it helps you practice resilience. So let's start with the trombone. Trombone is a fickle instrument. It can be affected by temperature, humidity. The slide may not work the same one day to the other. Sometimes the mouthpiece is too dirty, sometimes too clean. Sometimes the room I'm playing in is too small or too big, or you show up and there's no room at all. These seem like ridiculously small problems, and they are, but my point is that every day when I approach the trombone, it's different and new. And that is just from the trombone side of things, not to mention my own physical or mental state on that day. Each day when I start to play, I test my resilience. It's a lot easier to just put the trombone down and go have a coffee, but I have shows to prepare for. I have music to learn and projects that I want to accomplish. So every day I play. There are ups and downs, and sometimes it seems like a lot more downs than ups, but each day I return to the trombone and try to get better, and I try to practice my resilience. I try to make a certain note sound better, or try to record a new piece, or try to experiment with some extended technique, which you saw today with the plunger, right? And all the silliness. I know that every day I'm playing trombone, I'm testing my resilience because there have been many days where I've decided not to play. There have been years where I've decided not to play, in fact. After college, I nearly quit the trombone altogether. I started working as a dog walker, and I played no trombone for almost 2 years. What brought me back to it, though, was the resilience that I learned to tap into over time. I started again to experiment, and I started to enjoy testing myself on the trombone. And at the same time, I found spending time in nature and rock climbing, and I realized how much I needed the trombone in my life. So I'm very grateful that I came back to it, and I can truly appreciate what it teaches me now. My other activity that shows me my capability for resilience is rock climbing. First off, as I just mentioned, starting technical rock climbing definitely got me back to the trombone. If you want to look it up, there's a crazy video where I'm hanging off the side of a cliff and I'm playing the Ride of the Valkyries on the trombone. So check that out, yeah. I think the reason that rock climbing helped me so much was that the resilience that you need to build just to participate in the sport reminded me a lot of trombone playing. Not sure how many of you have been rock climbing, but, where am I? Okay, here you go. What you should understand about rock climbing is failure is the expectation. You fail often, like almost every single time, right? And the culture around rock climbing is such that if you aren't failing, you aren't trying hard enough. And so people will push you to try harder. When I first went rock climbing, I was very scared. I'm naturally afraid of heights, or really actually falling from heights is my fear. And I was not in great physical shape. So I fell off even the easiest problems and my hands hurt a lot. I was hiking more serious trails at the time though, and I really wanted to learn these technical skills to not fall. So when other strong climbers would come to the gym, I would start talking with them. And I learned about the mental and physical resilience it takes to be a good rock climber. You have to work at it to prepare your body for climbing. The skin on your hands grows stronger, and eventually your toes don't hurt from being jammed in the tiny shoes. The wildest thing for me, though, was that one day I was at the top of a route and I felt like I might fall, so I looked down and I wasn't afraid. I had built up a mental resilience around heights and could try hard moves and fail. Now, it's been some time since I've gone rock climbing 3 to 4 times a week, and I went the other day with my wife, Emily, and I made to the top of a route, and I was petrified. I knew I was going to fall, and I screamed to her, "There's too much slack in the system," and I made it an embarrassment of myself. But it was a great reminder of how you're tested every single time. There are no guarantees in climbing, or in trombone, or in life in general, but it always goes best if you embrace the failure, embrace the resilience you've built, and try to overcome it.
This is the time of the service where we hold up the virtue of generosity. It's summertime, and the pace of life here at USNH does seem a little more relaxed. But to be sure, the work of this community is ongoing, as is the need for our collective support. As the music plays, ushers will move through the sanctuary to receive the collection, and you can consult the order of service for alternate ways to contribute. In whatever ways you support this community in whatever amount, please know that your contributions are gratefully received and sincerely appreciated.
Good morning. I am Leona Genzano, and today I was asked to talk about resilience. Resilience is falling down and being able to get right back up. I have a personal example of resilience. In my school show, I had to sing Let It Go from Frozen, and in the middle of the song, the music stopped, but my group and I kept singing and dancing without the music. All of our rehearsal had made us resilient. After we finished singing, the principal came on stage and said we did a good job. I see resilience in my friends a lot, every day to be honest. Everyone shows their own example of resilience. Whether the situation is big or small, if you hit a bump in the road, but you just keep going, you're being resilient too.
Great, I get to follow adorableness. Good morning, I'm Bob, he, him, Sembianti. I am currently reading The Velvet Rage, Overcoming the Pain of Growing Up Gay in a Straight Man's World by Dr. Alan Downs. And yes, it's a light summer read. In general, gay men of my generation faced obstacles right out of the gate, leading to shame and a fairly common pattern of depression, anxiety, addiction issues, and inhibited emotions. A therapist once told me I'm a textbook case of this, and I planned today to speak about how people with these characteristics build resiliency. Whether it's through a 12-step program, counseling, or a wonderful alternative program called Smart Recovery, which empowered me to change my life on my own terms without needing to surrender to a higher power, which, trust me, works for many people, just not me, because I'm still trying to figure out just what my higher power is. In the fight to be resilient, choosing the right tools is key. Then the other night I found a song which helped me flesh these comments out a bit more, powerfully speaking to the questioning of a higher power and hopefully adding a layer of universality to these comments. Now, I'm a musical theater lover. I spent the first 20 years of my career being in them, working on them, and it's my passion. And I just discovered a Swedish musical written 30 years ago called Christina. And it's written by the musical geniuses behind ABBA, Benny Andersson and Bjorn Ulvaeus. I'm an ABBA super trooper. I pause. Thank you for the music. We go on. Based on Vilhelm Moberg's The Emigrants novels, Christina follows a poverty-stricken Swedish family's dangerous mid-19th century migration to America. Coming to America from Sweden during the gold rush, well, it was fraught with danger. Talk about a truly resilient people. After the death of another of her children, Christina stands alone and challenges the very existence of God in a song called You Must Exist in Swedish, translated to You Have to Be There in English. And I thought maybe the reason the song came into my life this week and has been stuck in my head for days was to shape what I'm sharing today. Shaken to her very core and staring at the stars, Christina trembles and sings, You have to be there, you have to. My life I have placed in thy keep, and without you I am drifting on a dark and rising sea. You have to be there, you have to. Without you I drown in the deep. Too far from land. The waters drag me down. I reach for your hand. Now these lyrics made me think of us, this congregation, because you sometimes question God's existence, each in our own way, or perhaps it's better to say we each define God in our own way and have many questions. Yet we keep reaching out our hand. And we must believe something is offering a hand back, even if it's simply and magnificently the life force we give each other through faith. For me, resilience is strength, and faith is resilience in action. Before her song's conclusion, Christina sings, And when I die, Who will open their arms to receive me? Who will forgive me and take me and show me their face? When I go to my rest, who will watch me and wake me? When my time comes at last, will you grant me your grace? And I'm learning how each of us answers these questions when we ask them defines our strength, our faith, and just how resilient we'd like to be. Thank you.
Let's sing again. Our hymn now is 108, My Life Flows On, an endless song. I invite you to rise in body and spirit. Hymn 108.
Wow, I had no idea we had so many ministers amongst us. Phew. I guess we all are ministers. I'm Joni. My pronouns are she and her. There is a quote by Christine Caine that goes like this: "Sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but you've actually been planted." Have you ever felt buried, demoralized, and defeated? Well, this is how I felt the summer of 2022 after my mother died. Of course, there was astounding grief, which was in and of itself immobilizing. But there was also endless administrative tasks, bills and bank accounts and estate headaches. I felt buried in it. And a big question: what to do with her little house on Cape Cod? Well, sell it, of course, said my siblings. Why would you not sell it? This little 800 square foot house in Falmouth on Cape Cod was a weekend destination for our family for many summers. It held many memories of prickly, salty skin after swimming in the ocean, Adele and Henry and Grammy floating on what we called the Whoosh, a fast-moving tidal channel at Sippowiset Beach. The time Henry offered Grammy his flip-flops to walk across the hot sand, and how from that day, in her eyes, he could do no wrong. Grammy's backyard birthday picnics in June, and of course, that last summer of memories, hospice caregivers, an off-key music therapist, and wacky sing-alongs, s'mores in the backyard, and late-night mystical conversations. Yeah, I guess we had to sell the house. That fall, Dan and I drove to the Cape for many, many weekends to do the torturous job of emptying the house of the possessions that she chose. Meanwhile, I racked my brain to find another solution. How could we sell this sweet little house full of memories? It was not a special house. It was quite run down with an old septic system and in an ordinary neighborhood. But it was Cape Cod. I recall my mother often saying, "How lucky am I? I have my snug little house on Cape Cod, close to everything, the hospital, the library, the beach." Then I had a glimmer of a thought. Henry and his girlfriend Kate had recently graduated from college and were living in an apartment in Sandwich, also on the Cape, a somewhat randomly chosen location because of a fondness for the Cape and somewhat a decent rent price. Henry worked from home as a film editor, and Kate worked in a dermatology practice as a histotechnologist. My thought was this: would Henry and Kate like to live in my mother's house? The mere thought made me jump for joy. What more perfect solution I could not imagine. This idea felt like a warm ray of sunlight in the dark. I broached the topic gently with fierce hope that they would like the idea. We talked about a timeline to empty the house and then spruce it up. They considered their situation, their current lease, and tentatively agreed that it might be great to live in Grammy's house. With the decision made, I can fast forward here, the grim task of emptying my mother's house became a joyful, creative project, preparing the house for Henry and Kate to live in. Money spent and hundreds of decisions about bathroom fixtures and paint colors now became a collaborative labor of love. Kate and Henry actually enjoyed choosing the tile for the kitchen backsplash. Helping them move in to the freshly remodeled little house in November of 2023 felt like Christmas morning. I imagined my mother dancing a jig to think that her little house would get a new life with Henry and Kate living in it. Fast forward another few years, Henry and Kate got married last month. They are still enjoying the Grammy house. They live there with their two cats, Nigel and Mare. Kate plays the trombone in the Falmouth Town Band. Henry borrows video games from the library my mother loved. They ride their bikes to local beaches. They host their friends for weekends to their enviable spot on Cape Cod. My mother's rich and wonderful life has provided fertile ground for the next generation. It turns out being buried and being planted is actually the exact same thing. It's just a matter of finding the sunlight.
Sorry, Bob, I get to follow everybody. Hi, I'm still Jim. My pronouns are he and him. And my reflection begins where I was last May, visiting Kodiak Island off the southern coast of Alaska, about 250 miles northwest of Anchorage. Kodiak is beautiful and verdant, with an abundance of bears, which we did not see, and bald eagles, which we certainly did. That morning in May, I was part of a small group that went with a guide to the Fort Abercrombie State Park. We walked for about a half an hour, admiring how lush and green everything was, when our guide, Sophia, an Alutiiq native woman, stopped by the base of a huge Sitka spruce and said simply, "It wasn't always like this." And she leaned over and with her foot pushed aside a few inches of topsoil, and underneath there was a white, glistening layer of something. It looked like powdered glass. "This is everywhere," she said. And she told the story of the 1912 Nova Rupta volcanic eruption, the largest in North America in at least 1,000 years. The eruption happened about 100 miles to the northwest on the mainland. Beginning June 6, over 60 hours, the eruption, which spewed ash 100,000 feet into the atmosphere, released 30 times the amount of material that Mount St. Helens did in 1980. More than 3 cubic miles of material that had been underground was ejected. I've been trying hard to figure out how to visualize that, so bear with me. Think about Sleeping Giant Mountain. Imagine foot to head times 13. That is the volume that went into the sky those 3 days. On Kodiak Island, it rained ash that whole time. Local reports said that if you held a lantern at arm's length at the height of the eruption, you couldn't see the light through the falling ash. When it was over, more than 12 inches of dense, hot, heavy material had taken down buildings, clogged every stream and river, wiped out leafy trees and small vegetation, and virtually all animal life. Now, looking around in that wild place last May, we listened and couldn't quite believe what we were hearing. The landscape everywhere we looked was so healthy and fertile and lush, and the spruces towering over us seemed so permanent. And Sophia explained that the ash was incredibly destructive, but the ecology of the area was resilient and adapted. Smaller leafy trees were widely destroyed, as were ground plants under the ash, but that gave the spruces an opportunity to expand their range and height with less competition. The spruce's deep roots were able to survive the ash fall so much more quickly than scientists at the time predicted. The ecosystem rebounded on the island. Ash is still everywhere, as Sophia said, and when the wind blows from the northwest, ash from Nova Rupta Ground Zero can still rise up and interfere with local air transportation. But nature's resilience right there in front of our eyes was breathtaking. On the way back from that forest, where Sophia told us about Nova Rupta, the conversation shifted. Sophia was asked about the political history of the area. Someone in our group, it wasn't me, but it could have been, before she could answer, spoke strongly about the brutal treatment of Native Americans by both Russians in the 1700s and 1800s and Americans in turn after we purchased Alaska from Russia in 1867. Sophia's response took me aback, and I've been thinking about it ever since. "Don't feel sorry for us," she said. "That's not what friends do. I live here. My daughter and sons and my grandchildren live here. We fish here, we work here, we play here, we dance here. We get to live and die where my people have lived and died for thousands of years." And she told us that she participated in a native dance troupe who performed for visitors, but whose main focus was including and educating the younger Alutiiq generations. She finished by saying that the local tribal corporation was deeply committed to passing on spoken Alutiiq language dialects by reaching out to the island's oldest members, some of whom are the last known speakers of some language branches. It's not all good news. Alcoholism and suicide are deeply entrenched within Alutiiq communities, both on Kodiak Island and more broadly across Alaska. One of Sophia's own sons died a year ago, and yet she insisted, "Don't feel sorry for us." I think that's a key part of resilience. Just keep going. My mom would have said, "You have to play the cards you're dealt." I think that attitude is one of resilience's essential ingredients. People can survive. They can even flourish, as the Alutiiq of Kodiak Island are, from Sophia's point of view, flourishing in the midst of severe and ongoing challenges. So let's, all of us, learn from that and just keep going. May it be so. And now I invite Joni forward to extinguish our flame. Leona, would you help? Or would you do it? That'd be wonderful. We have words to extinguish the flame. They're a little different this week. They're in your order of service. Carry forth this callous chain. Allow its light and warmth to fortify us, inspire us, strengthen us. May our resilience be renewed, sustained, and enduring. May we be led and lead others toward compassion and empathy as we carry the fire of hope in our hearts this day and in the week to come.